How old is SpongeBob? Not his official age. I mean, how long has SpongeBob actually existed? The answer might be hiding in one of the weirdest episodes in the entire show, SB-129. Squidward travels back in time and finds primitive versions of SpongeBob and Patrick. But these aren't just similar animals. They're still SpongeBob and Patrick. They're friends. They're neighbors. And Squidward is still annoyed by them. Then Squidward teaches them how to jellyfish.
Like this.
When he returns to the present, SpongeBob already knows that Squidward invented jellyfishing. So somehow, Squidward's trip to the past became part of SpongeBob's history. But here's what really matters. If that's the same SpongeBob, how old is he? And this brings us to the Bikini Atoll theory. You've probably heard the basic idea. Bikini Bottom is connected to the real Bikini Atoll, where nuclear weapons were tested beginning in the 1940s. The theory says the radiation mutated the ordinary sea life living there. The sponge became SpongeBob, the starfish became Patrick. And eventually, that radiation-created marine life became the bizarre civilization we see today. But most people stop there. I'm taking it one step further. What if the nuclear testing created SpongeBob himself? Before the bombs, he was just an ordinary sponge. After the radiation, he began evolving into the SpongeBob we know. And this actually gives us a way to reinterpret Ugh. People use that episode as evidence against the Bikini Atoll theory because it shows SpongeBob and Patrick in a prehistoric-looking Bikini Bottom. But what if it isn't showing us millions of years before SpongeBob? What if we're seeing the same SpongeBob at the beginning of his evolution? They're primitive because their civilization hasn't developed yet, but their identities are already there. SpongeBob is still SpongeBob. Patrick is still Patrick. Squidward is still Squidward. That explains why their relationships are already identical. They're not ancestors. They're the same characters in an earlier stage. And the show keeps giving us similar evidence. In Dunces and Dragons, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and the others appear in a medieval version of Bikini Bottom. In Pest of the West, we meet SpongeBob's ancestor SpongeBuck, showing that his family has existed throughout Bikini Bottom's history. And Feral Friends plays with the characters becoming much more primitive while still remaining the same individuals. So we're constantly seeing these characters at different stages of Bikini Bottom's history. And that makes the nuclear theory much more interesting. The radiation didn't just make some fish glow, it could have completely changed the biology of the creatures living there. And that helps explain why Bikini Bottom is filled with intelligent marine life. Now, there is an obvious objection. But radiation can't turn animals into talking people. Of course it can't in real life. But this is a fictional universe where characters can transform, mutate, and even revert into primitive forms. The theory isn't trying to describe real biology, it's trying to explain the show's biology. And Bikini Atoll is a pretty strange coincidence to ignore. The name, the nuclear testing, the mutated marine life, the constant radiation imagery, and an entire underwater civilization populated almost exclusively by marine animals. There are other Bikini Atoll theories too, including theories involving Neptune and radiation, but that's a rabbit hole for another video. The important difference here is that this theory isn't just Bikini Bottom is radioactive. It's the nuclear testing created the characters we know. And if that's true, SpongeBob could date back to the 1940s. Which makes his age a lot more interesting. Because maybe we've been watching the same sponge for decades, and SB-129 gives us one of the biggest clues. Squidward goes back in time and meets SpongeBob and Patrick. He teaches them jellyfishing. And that knowledge survives into the modern day. The same characters, through an incredibly long history. So maybe Ugh isn't showing us SpongeBob's ancestors. Maybe it's showing us SpongeBob at the beginning. Before the pineapple, before the Krusty Krab, before the city. before modern Bikini Bottom. Just an ordinary sponge that was changed by the bombs, and over time, he became SpongeBob. So how old is SpongeBob? Maybe he's not thousands of years old. Maybe he's not millions of years old. Maybe he's something much stranger. He could be one of the first creatures created by Bikini Atoll's nuclear testing. And if that's true, then the prehistoric-looking SpongeBob we've already seen might actually be his origin story.